I have a report. An investigator was already destroyed by the Maverick Hunter. I know. It's shameful that they can't beat that mysterious old robot. Isoc, keep an eye on that hunter for a while. Yes, sir. Oh, how's the experiment going? Everything is going great, and the effect is brilliant. We achieved 99.98% success rate by now. That's a bit clunky. This is an amazing invention. But if you use high max, in just minutes, you could control all Reploids on Earth. Even the Maverick Hunter was no match. No, continue the experiment for now. I want you to keep gathering data. Yes, sir. By the way, have you found what you're looking for? I guess it doesn't exist in this world. Oh no, it does. I've seen him. Besides, he isn't some low Reploid that would die in such a trivial battle. I admit he's as persistent as X. Alive or not, there are many options. I'll find out later for sure. It doesn't matter to me. You are on your own. I don't need the body of Zero. Anyway, just do the work and keep an eye on X. Yes, sir. Well, that was a conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Megaman X6. In the last part, we started off the game and took out Commander Yanmark, and now both the Magma Area and Laser Institute are red. That's because I visited Captain Yanmark's stage. This is what's known as a nightmare effect. Basically, when you visit certain stages, it'll cause a bit of an X1 thing where other stages will have a bit of an effect in them. Every stage affects certain stages for effect, like Captain Yanmark will always influence the Magma Area and the Laser Institute. But for right now, we're heading after Infinity Mijinion. However, we're not here to fight the Maverick himself. More on that in a moment.
Ready?
That's totally not Final Countdown. What? What's that huge Reploid? You're in the weapons center. They have been constructing powerful weapons without the appropriate approvals. A huge Reploid. I assume it's Illumina. Considering that I couldn't pick up any reading of its activation, it must be a nightmare. There has to be cables which are sending energy to Illumina. Find and destroy them. Good luck. But yeah, this song just, it's Final Countdown. Either way, Infinity Mijinion stage, the entire gimmick is that Illumina there, who's also totally not a Sentinel from X-Men, in the background. Here at the start, he's constantly sending out laser beams at us, which are pretty easy to dodge as long as you keep a bit of a pace up. Every now and then, and by every now and then I mean basically like the 1/3 and roughly 2/3 mark of the stage, we come into cables that are powering Illumina. Best way to take it out, use a Z-Saber strike. That takes down Illumina's health pretty quickly. Now, in terms of the nightmare effect that Captain Yanmark's stage creates, it sends bugs to those stages that will follow you around. They won't directly attack you, but they'll follow you around. And visiting, well, first off, as of this part of the stage, Illumina now just summons 3 drones along with its own laser sight to target you with a giant laser attack that does decent damage, actually. But in terms of visiting Infinity Mijinion stage, visiting here will cause nightmare effects to appear in the Amazon area and Imani Temple, so the areas of Commander Yanmark and a later investigator will be fighting. Now, we're actually coming up on something pretty major. After we fight this next power cable, a certain effect is going to take place. Every stage out of the 8 main investigators has what's known as an alternate pathway within it. Quite literally, it's just a pathway that's alternate to the original, but leads to a different kind of boss room. Generally, it's an optional boss fight that will either influence your ending or give you extra souls. This one, the weapon centers is triggered upon defeating the second phase of Illumina. And this is also where something is for us. Huh? I sense something. We want to immediately walk left, clever bastards, they'd had to do it eventually. I'll give you data for an armor program. Obtain all 4 programs so that the armor will be complete. The one I will give you now is the arm program for the blade armor. With your weapon fully charged, hold the up button and press the shot button. Then you can attack with the charged blade. You can do it, X. I never use that, ever. Because honestly, the charged beam of the blade armor is pretty good on its own. There's also this stage's heart tank. Either way, the ultimate pathway here has a lot of Reploids, so I'm actually going to be dying a lot trying to get them because they're all over Bottomless Pit from here on out. Thankfully, they all give us extra lives. But yeah, alternate pathways, I'm going to be showing off every single one of these in the game. Usually what's in them is either a lot of Reploids, a lot of nightmares, and so on and so forth. Every now and then there'll be like a heart container, a heart tank, or a sub-tank within them, but that's about it. But no matter what, at the end of them is an alternate boss room. You're not fighting the investigator in them. You're fighting, as I mentioned, a second type of boss. What that is depends on the point of the game you're at. It is recommendable to come after here as soon as you possibly can, though, because the first boss that you fight in these areas is, without a doubt, the most useful to fight. And I'm going to be fighting it completely wrong on purpose at first, just to show off its attack patterns. Oh, hey, Illumina's dead body in the background. Wow, you really do look like a sentinel. Either way, what do we got? Oh! What do you think you're doing? Zero. Where is Zero? You don't need to know that. It is you who will be eliminated. Okay, Zero Nightmare Time, who fights very similarly to the fight in X5. Even has the exact same battle theme, which, you know, always good to hear this return. In terms of actual weakness, Nightmare Zero is weak against the Z-Saber. It even makes a really funny grunt when you hit him with it. But the best strategy I give if you're trying to fight him without using the Z-Saber for whatever reason, stay close to him and maybe he'll start spamming the Rakuha attack from X5. I died, so obviously it's time for me just to start going all out against him with it. Honestly, Zero Nightmare, as long as you use the Z-Saber, very easy. Without it, honestly, pretty hard fight. If he ever does the Rakuha attack, just jump above him because he never strikes there. And that Z-Saber attack of his own is damn near impossible to dodge unless you duck in time. Either way, with the Nightmare Zero gone, let's see what happens now, because that was a pretty important plot point last part. My reputation has been damaged while away. Also, I'd like to know that the theme here is a nice little remix of Variable X from X1. I love this track still, though my favorite version is still the X5 intro theme. Being thought of as some stupid toy. Zero? Zero, you're alive! Huh. So X is alive, is he? Seems Sigma didn't defeat me after all. But I searched all over for your parts! Your signal, but I found nothing, so... That is most unfortunate. I hid myself while I tried to repair myself. I'll rant on that line next stage. I had to wait until I was healed. Well, it's been an emotional reunion. But now we must face the nightmare. If the Reploids are eradicated, then mankind, no, the Earth itself will face a crisis. Let's go, X. Destroy the nightmare. Yeah, we'll join hands. And never let anyone sever us again. Let's go, Zero. The bromance is reunited. So yeah, if you go to an alternate pathway as soon as you can get Zero back, and it's recommendable because Zero makes the game so much easier. He is the best character to play as in the game. I'll get more into how he plays when we actually play as him, because we're actually playing as him in the next stage. So for right now, I'm going to save and immediately load into a cutscene. I have a report. Another investigator has been beaten. Blast. That old robot is tenacious. You are quite right, sir. Especially that red Reploid. Zero has outstanding performance. I believe you'll cause problems for us if we don't take measures now. I'm no longer interested in Zero. Max will defeat Zero before long. There is no doubt it'll be easy for High Max. But we better make a move just in case. Isoc, I've been thinking about that. You're obsessed with Zero, aren't you? No, I'm not. Then leave that old robot and focus on the experiment. Yes, sir. I'm doing just that. It's going smoothly and effectively. We've achieved 99.98% success rate by now. So I assume the experiment is done. Then it's time for the next phase. It's going to be fun, Isoc. I'm sure, sir. Keep an eye on those two Maverick hunters. I shall obey your orders. Okay, a few things about that. I know that you only just returned, but I need to ask you something. Will you help X and carry out the missions? It's my job. I am a Maverick hunter. I've been away for a while, but I'm ready to fight for peace. Okay, that cutscene only plays if you defeat the first investigator you fight with Zero. And I want to apologize for a few things. First off, the audio is actually the cutscene from the very beginning of the part because the video file I have of it doesn't have audio. Secondly, I apologize for the downgrade in quality because it was noticeable. I had my cousin's friend record that for me because I didn't feel like going back to fight the first Maverick as Zero. That happens a few times because there's a few cutscenes I just couldn't get with the way I played the game, so look out for that. Either way, we're taking on our next investigator, Sheldon with Zero. And Zero is awesome. He plays more or less the exact same he did in X5, but he always has the Z Buster that you could get if you started X5 with Zero. His power's ridiculous, but he's also noticeably painted differently because I inputted a cheat code at the start of the game to get Black Zero. Unlike X4, it's more closer to X5 where it's an actual upgrade, beefed damage and defense, so I'll get more into my reasons as to why I'm using this in a moment. You're in the Laser Institute. It's one of the most mysterious places in the world. Since this institute does not officially exist, we don't have much data on it. But we know this place is full of wonders. I'll check it out. The reason I'm using Black Zero instead of normal Zero is because for the most part, Zero is going to be going pretty unupgraded in this playthrough. I'll be using him fairly regularly, but he's not going to be getting heart tanks until sometime around cleanup era after the 8 investigators are defeated. So he's going to be pretty low on health for the most part. Huh? Why are they levitating? Are there invisible floors or something? I've never encountered this kind of situation, but that's the only logical explanation. There are invisible platforms, at least at this point in the stage. So yeah, because of lower defense that he would have had otherwise along with lower health, I'm just giving them this to give him an otherwise decent edge, just so he's fun to play as all the same, you know? Notable things though, Zero does have all the mobility upgrades that he had in X4, air dash to start with, double jump, all that kind of good stuff. There are laser units. And the light reflectors. The reflectors seem to be inflecting the laser. I've witnessed an experiment of this device that inflected the laser before. In that experiment, you could turn the devices. I'm not sure if those devices are the same ones, though, because they're not visible from here. The one thing I'm sure is that they are nightmare phenomena. I'll try to utilize the laser and see what happens. Gimmick with Sheldon stage is that you have to be using these lasers and reflecting them into the little edges. However, Sheldon stage has 2 major pathways, as all of them do. However, most of the meat of this stage comes from the alternate pathway because, well, first off, the laser firers themselves will turn every couple of laser fires. This is the last room if you're just going for Sheldon himself. Also, what we're seeing right now is a nightmare effect from Commander Yanmark's stage. However, you might have noticed the stage wasn't red. That happens. Every now and then, the stage will not be red when you trigger a nightmare effect. And if I recall, it's mostly just because if you destroy a Maverick or / investigator, the effect stays longer, maybe? I'm not sure. It might also be semi-permanent. I'm not sure. X6's nightmare effects are random for a good amount of the game, aside from certain areas just getting triggered after entering certain areas. Also, I should mention, for entering the Laser Institute, you trigger a nightmare effect in Imani Temple in the North Pole area. Either way, we're already at the boss fight. The investigator sent to this area is Sheldon. Make sure to get your way was Sheldon, isn't he? He's now an investigator. So be it. Well, it seems like he has some past history. Mind you, Zero seems to have history with a lot of Reploids you fight in the series for some reason. But he's a fairly well-traveled Maverick Hunter, so I guess there's some explanation for it. Shield Sheldon. Too bad about your previous life. Don't be. I was new to the life as a security guard. That's all. Maverick Hunters are supposed to be able to tell a Maverick from a Reploid. Our officers aren't good enough. They could cost us everything. Reploids all over the world have been needing you. I was useless as a bodyguard. And was useless to everyone else. When I accepted that fact, I accepted my fate. However, there turned out to be someone who needs me. He's given me one more chance. And therefore, I'm gonna fulfill my mission as a bodyguard now. I'll protect him. Even if it means that I have to sacrifice my life. Come on, Zero! Shield Sheldon, by the way, if you're wondering what he's actually weak against, he's weak against the weapon of... Metal Shark player. Either way, Shield Sheldon, as you can tell by his life bar, is very weak against the Zero Buster and the Z-Saber. The Z-Buster in particular is ridiculous in X6, though, because not only does it do a lot of damage, enemies get so few invincibility frames from it, it's basically broken, and I love it. Either way, that's Shield Sheldon down to stage. He didn't get a chance to do much, but he's a pretty easy Maverick all the same. And his stage, if you're just going for him himself, pretty short. Honestly, it's not a bad first choice, especially if you go for Zero immediately, which some players do, and I would recommend it if you're new to the game. Just go for Zero as soon as you can. And for beating Shield Sheldon, we get the Guard Shell. Shield enemies shot for the counterattack. It's a shield that erases enemy projectiles and fires a laser back at them. Shield Sheldon, ex-security police. He guarded Dr. Jim, who was an important person in the laboratory. Suddenly, Dr. Jim became a Maverick. However, he was able to control himself. The Maverick Hunters identified Sheldon as a Maverick just because he was created by Gate. Sheldon couldn't deal with being labeled, and so he ended it all. Reploid suicide? You know, I don't think that's a thing the games have ever touched on. That's a pretty interesting idea to go through. Robot suicide. Huh. Either way, with that kind of dark note, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we'll be continuing on through with more investigators with both X and Zero in tow now. See you guys then.